Hey, in this video, we're going to be painting, what are we doing? Watercolor wildflowers in a loose watercolor style. We're going to be painting a coneflower, black-eyed Susan, stalk, and Bachelor Buttons, which is the funnest name of a flower, I think, ever. Bachelor Buttons. So fun. And in this tutorial, you're going to get a feel for staying loose, staying natural and organic, and going with the flow. So if you're ready to do all of those things, then let's dive in. All right, so we're gonna paint four different stems of wildflowers. The first one I'm gonna paint is called Bachelor Buttons, which is really cute. But basically they have this like U bell shape connected to the stem, and then they've got this fluffy hairdo on top with light periwinkle cobalty petal colors. So I'm gonna grab cobalt blue and a touch of ultramarine violet. This mixture underneath is just Prussian blue and Mars black, so we're just adding to it. This is loose style, so we're not worrying too much about not getting the exact color. But I do want it to be a little more purpley. So ultramarine violet. And it's a bit more smoky because cobalt blue is kind of a creamy blue color. It's not really transparent. Here we go. So for this flower, I'm going to start with all of these flowers. I'm using a size 6 brush, but I'm just going to have petals pointing to the center that are pointing towards, or fanned out and pointing towards me. So we're gonna go like this first. Just kind of creating this little beard. And then I'm going to rinse off that pigment from my brush in my water cup. And while this area, this beard, is still wet, I'm going to point my brush towards the center of the flower. My stem would be here. Point my brush towards the center of the flower, press, and just kind of add in these petals like so. And then I'm going to go back in and darken some of these. But let's do another one down here. Maybe it's kind of tilting this way. And then we've got our little bell guy. For the stem, I'm going to do some sap green and some lemon yellow deep. I'm going to start wherever the center of the flower, where these petals are pointing to, is the center of the flower. That's where the stem is going to be. So I'm going to just guide this down like so. This is the center here. So there's our Bachelor buttons. I might go back in with Prussian blue and ultramarine violet for a darker purple and add some depth to the flower. But just a little. Next I'm going to paint a coneflower, which has this like yellow ochre center. I'm going to do yellow ochre and touch of lemon yellow deep. I'm going to do that first, and then we're going to add detail to that. But I'm going to paint in this stamen. This is with the yellow ochre and lemon yellow deep in this like half ball shape. So I'm going to have a flower pointing this way. And then maybe another one, but pointing down over there. And coneflower or echinacea flower is going to be, our petals are going to be some opera rose with some yellow ochre to make it more of like a clayish color. Maybe a touch of Mars Black to make it smoky. And the yellow part, the yellow half dome part, is the stamen, and we're going to have petals pointing back to that stamen. And then just little peaks of petals over top, but they're bending kind of like a skirt, a ballerina skirt. So pointing and dragging. So I've got about a 65-degree angle hold on my brush. I'm gonna have a thin stroke first. So just using the point of my brush first, and then pressing and looping back towards that thin stroke. So there's my petals, thin stroke, pressure, loop back. And while some of these are still wet, I will go back and darken the base of some of these petals. We don't want them to all look the same. And then these just little notches for petals that we can't really see. Maybe this next one has a little more pink, maybe a touch of ultramarine violet. So here's the center. And the stems, sap green, touch of lemon yellow deep. Here's the center of our stamen, so we'll pull it down here. This one's like real upside down. You can look up these flowers so you're painting more of an accurate depiction of what their leaves actually look like, but I'm just kind of going with what I think would look cute to fill it in. There we go.
Very cute.
Okay, next we're gonna paint some stalk stalk flower. Let's do a different color. What color should I do? So I'm gonna do like a fuchsia-y, magenta-y color with some opera rose and ultramarine violet for my stalk flower. But for this one, we're kind of doing the same flicking and loose style petals as we did for the Bachelor Buttons, but we're doing more tiny clusters of flowers. I'm going to start lower. And I'm still using my size 6 brush. So there's one little bulb or flower. Another one. Maybe some of the flowers have more pink. And the stalk flower is like got tiny little blooms all the way up and it starts to taper towards the top. So I'm going to start getting tapered. It's hard to paint and talk at the same time. Sometimes. Fluffy, fluffy. For these, I'm just using the side of my brush, 35-degree hold, and really light, a lot of water and just a touch of this pigment. Just kind of adding fluff as I go up. And maybe touching some yellow bits here and there. And we've got some buds that haven't bloomed yet, so we're gonna do little bloop, 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 bloop. Stalk.
Be cute.
And for our last flower, wildflower, first I want to darken some of these bits. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So Black-Eyed Susan is going to be a lot like our coneflower. Instead of a yellow center, though, we are going to do a black center. I'm going to have the guy just kind of like... So, half dome, using the 35-ish, 45-degree angle hold on my brush, and pressing, giving it this little almond shape. Then for the petal color, I'm going to use Lemon Yellow Deep and a touch of Yellow Ochre, and we are going to basically point, press, this is the top of this flower, so we're just adding that in here. This half dome is pointed this way, so we're going to point our petals right there. Got really thick mixture of Lemon Yellow Deep and Yellow Ochre for this. Then I'm going to grab some burnt umber and yellow ochre and use just the tip of my size 6 brush and kind of just flicking it around these petals, starting with the outer edge and then giving it some fluff on top. Not for every petal. Something fun and different. Then I'm going to grab some stems with sap green. Got this one maybe coming through here. These flowers are wild. We're just giving it some kind of texture. Background noise. If we're picturing these in a big old field of Black-Eyed Susans. So there you go, 4 different types of watercolor wildflowers. There you have it, 4 wildflowers for you to paint and go crazy with over the weekend, over the next week, however long. I love painting wildflowers. I love also just taking a little stroll in the hills by our house, Back Bay is a hiking area by our house, and they have some beautiful, in the spring, beautiful wildflowers, and it's fun to just kind of pick the flowers and look at them, look at their shape. So if next time you're out in nature, take a little bit of a slower pace, maybe pull up some wildflowers if you're nearby, or, you know, just look at them. You don't have to pluck them. And just take a look at what their shape is. Is it a ball shape? Is it a cone shape? Spear shape? All of those things. If you don't have my second how-to watercolor book yet, make sure you snag that one, because I cover a lot more flowers in my book, Everyday Watercolor Flowers. We'll link it below. So if you want to keep painting all of the flowers, I have a lot of loose and realistic flowers in that book. And also make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications for our YouTube videos. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, because that's how you'll get notified when we release a new tutorial. Don't miss any tutorial, because they're all fabulous, if I do say so myself. And I would love to see you in the comment section, letting us know what you'd like to see in future videos, or letting us know what you're struggling with or whatever, so I can make it into a future tutorial. So in the comments below, drop what your favorite wildflower was to paint, or maybe which one you're still struggling with. I would love to check it out. Hit me up in the comments, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.